Hello, and welcome to the Election Assistance Commission's training on the Help America Vote Act for election officials. Thank you for taking the time to complete this training. Let's get started. The Help America Vote Act of 2002, otherwise known as HAVA, is an important federal law designed to improve the administration of elections in the United States. It established the Election Assistance Commission, or EAC, and set new baseline standards for states in several areas of election administration. This training is designed to provide election administrators with information about HAVA requirements that they should be aware of. In this training, you will learn about HAVA requirements that impact voter registration, including list maintenance and voter identification, provisional voting, voting systems, and public posting of voting information. Select each image to learn more. HAVA includes several requirements that contribute to the accuracy of voter registration lists. Congress recognized the issues caused by decentralized voter registration lists within states and the potential opportunity to verify voters' identities using other statewide databases. HAVA's passage marked the first time states were required to implement an official statewide voter registration list or database maintained and administered at the state level. Specifically, the statewide list must include the name and registration information for every legally registered voter in the state, include a unique identifier for each voter on the list, give immediate access to information to local election officials, allow local election officials to electronically enter information at the time they receive it, coordinate with other state agency databases, and serve as the official voter registration list for federal elections. Only North Dakota is exempt from the statewide voter list requirement, as it did not require voter registration when HAVA was adopted and has not implemented formal voter registration since. Provisional ballots are an important tool to prevent the unintentional disenfranchisement of voters. HAVA's provisional voting requirements fall into three main categories: offering provisional ballots, counting provisional ballots, and communicating provisional ballot status. Select each button to learn more. HAVA reinforces the ongoing accuracy of the statewide database by requiring election officials to perform regular list maintenance in accordance with the National Voter Registration Act, or NVRA. Maintenance required under HAVA includes coordinating the statewide voter registration database with state agency records on felony convictions as required by state law, and deaths. Under HAVA, a state's list maintenance process must make sure that the name of each registered voter is included in the statewide list, only voters who are not registered or are ineligible to vote are removed, and duplicate names are eliminated. States are responsible for accurate and regular maintenance of the system, which includes making reasonable efforts to remove ineligible registrants consistent with the NVRA and implementing safeguards to make sure eligible voters are not removed by mistake. Generally, HAVA requires registrants to include a driver's license number or the last four digits of their Social Security number when registering to vote in federal elections. If the registrant does not have either number, then the state must assign them a number to be used for their identification. It is up to the state to determine whether the information provided by the registrant is sufficient to meet this identification requirement under state law. Unless registrants are permitted to use full Social Security numbers to register, states must also enter into agreements with the state's motor vehicle authority. The agreement must allow the state to verify information in the statewide voter list with information in the motor vehicles database. These provisions provide a method of matching registrants' Social Security or driver's license numbers. Finally, HAVA also imposed identification requirements for voters who register by mail. Affected voters are those who have not previously voted in a federal election in the state or have not voted in a federal election in the local jurisdiction, and the jurisdiction is in a state that does not have a statewide voter list that meets the criteria outlined in HAVA. As you read through these additional requirements, remember that this is a baseline requirement. Some states have laws that narrow the type of acceptable identification or require it of all voters, not just those who registered by mail. Select each button to learn more. There are a few exceptions to the mail-in registrant identification requirements. If the voter submitted the necessary identification with their mail-in registration, provided a driver's license number or the last 4 digits of their Social Security number on the mail registration, and they are matched to an existing state identification record, or is entitled to vote absentee under the Uniformed and Overseas Citizens Absentee Voting Act, or due to a lack of accessible voting locations, the identification requirements do not apply. Now it is time to check your understanding. Read the question and answer choices and select your answer. Then select Submit. If a court extends the time to vote in a federal election, voters must vote provisional ballots during the extended time. For example, if polls normally close at 7 p.m., but a court extends voting until 8 p.m. due to a power outage, voters who arrive after 7 p.m. must vote provisionally. Provisional ballots voted due to the court order must be kept separate from all other provisional ballots. A court will determine whether these ballots are ultimately counted. HAVA sets baseline requirements for using provisional ballots. States may expand the use of provisional ballots to other circumstances as well. Now it is time to check your understanding. Read the question and answer choices and select your answer. Then select Submit. In passing HAVA, Congress provided funding to states for the replacement of lever and punch card voting systems, established several baseline requirements for new voting systems, and tasked the EAC with adopting voluntary voting system guidelines. Let's focus on the baseline requirements HAVA established for voting systems. These requirements include providing a private and independent method of voting, notifying voters of overvotes, creating an auditable paper record of ballots cast, and being accessible. Select each button to learn more. Voting systems must allow all voters, including voters with disabilities, to cast their ballots privately and independently. This means letting voters verify their selections and change or correct any selections before casting their ballot. Voters must also be issued a replacement ballot to make corrections if needed. Now it is time to check your understanding. Read the question and answer choices and select your answer. Then select Submit. The system must notify a voter if they've made too many selections in a contest, often referred to as overvoting, while maintaining voter privacy. The notification must explain the effect of overvoting and provide the voter an opportunity to correct the issue. For jurisdictions using paper ballots or a central count system, including mail ballots, election officials must provide voter education on the voting system, the effect of overvoting, and written instructions on how to correct an overvote, including use of a replacement ballot. Voters with disabilities must have the same opportunity to cast a private and independent ballot while using the voting system. Each polling location must have at least one accessible voting machine. HAVA's accessibility requirements also include language accessibility. Voting systems must support alternative languages consistent with Section 203 of the Voting Rights Act. Voting systems must produce an auditable, permanent paper record of ballots cast. Voters must be able to change or correct their ballot before the system produces the permanent paper record, and the paper record of the ballot must be available for a recount if needed. Election officials post a lot of information in voting locations during federal elections. HAVA requires several of these postings, including sample ballots, the date of the election and the hours the voting location is open, instructions on how to vote, including casting a vote and voting provisionally, instructions for mail-in registrants and first-time voters, information on voting rights established by federal and state law, including the right to a provisional ballot and how to contact appropriate officials if rights have allegedly been violated, and information on federal and state laws prohibiting fraud and misrepresentation. Now it is time to check your understanding. Read the question and answer choices and select your answer. Then select Submit. Congratulations! You have completed the Election Assistance Commission's training on the Help America Vote Act for election officials. You should now understand how HAVA impacts voter registration, including list maintenance and voter identification, provisional voting, voting systems, and public posting of voting information. As always, thank you for your work in elections.